After 6 years in sales, car sales, door-to-door sales, thousands of conversations, thousands of rejections, and talking to thousands of people, I realized something. Sales teaches you way more about human nature than business ever will. Because after a while, you start noticing patterns. You notice how people make decisions, what people are insecure about, how emotions control buying, why trust matters so much, why some people instantly connect with others, and why some salespeople struggle no matter how hard they work. And honestly, a lot of what I learned had nothing to do with closing techniques. It had everything to do with understanding people. So in this video, I want to break down the 5 biggest lessons sales taught me about human behavior after 6 years of doing this professionally. And some of these lessons honestly changed the way I look at life entirely. So let's get into it. Point 1, people buy emotionally, not logically. This was probably the first major thing sales taught me. People love to believe they make decisions logically, but most decisions are emotional first and logic second, especially large purchases. Cars, homes, luxury items, even courses and business opportunities. People buy based on excitement, fear, comfort, trust, status, and identity. Then afterward, they justify it with logic. I saw this constantly in car sales. You could have a vehicle with better pricing, better gas mileage, more features, even a lower payment, and the customer will still buy the other vehicle. Why? Because emotionally, they connected more with it. Maybe they liked the color more, or maybe it just felt right. And this completely changed how I viewed selling, because newer salespeople often think, if I just explain the numbers better, they'll buy. But that's usually not what's happening. Most buying decisions are emotional. That's why trust matters so much. That's why confidence also matters a lot. That's why people remember how you made them feel more than the exact words you said. And honestly, this applies outside of sales too. I mean, look at social media, politics, relationships. Emotion drives human behavior way more than people realize. And once you understand that, you stop trying to win arguments with customers. Instead, you focus on understanding them emotionally. That's a huge shift. Point 2, most people don't want to be sold. They just want guidance. One of the biggest misconceptions about sales is that great salespeople are aggressive. Honestly, most top salespeople I've met are surprisingly calm because they understand something newer salespeople don't. People don't usually need pressure, they need certainty. Most customers are overwhelmed, especially today with all the information out there. Think about how many choices people have now also. Dozens of car options, endless online reviews, conflicting opinions, TikTok advice, YouTube reviews, you name it. People are overloaded with information. And because of that, they become indecisive. That's why the best salespeople often act more like guides than closers. They simplify things, they help customers feel comfortable, they reduce confusion, and honestly, customers can feel the difference immediately. They know when someone is trying to force a sale, and they also know when someone is genuinely trying to help them. One thing I learned over time, the less salesy I sounded, the better my conversations got, because pressure creates resistance. But clarity creates trust. This is also why listening matters so much. A lot of customers already know what they want emotionally. They just need someone to help them feel confident about the decision. That's it. And honestly, this changed the way I communicate with people in general, not just in sales. Point 3, people can feel desperation immediately. This lesson hurt to learn, especially early in my sales career. Because when you need money badly, you start forcing things. You overtalk, over-explain, chase customers, get emotionally attached to outcomes, and customers feel that energy instantly, even over the phone. This was one of the craziest things I learned in sales. People respond more to your emotional state than your words sometimes. You can have a good script, a good product, a good deal, but if your energy feels desperate, people pull away. And ironically, some of my best months in sales happened when I was the least emotionally attached, because I sounded calmer, more relaxed, more confident. I stopped acting like every deal determined my survival, and customers trusted me more because of it. One thing sales teaches you very quickly, emotional control is a superpower. The salesperson who stays emotionally steady usually performs the best long term. Not the loudest, not the most aggressive, not the most motivational, the calmest. And honestly, that applies to life too. People trust calm people. They follow calm people. Calm energy feels safe. Desperate energy, on the other hand, feels dangerous. This was a huge realization for me. Point 4, Listening is way more powerful than talking. This is one of the biggest mistakes every new salesperson makes, talking too much. And I definitely did this, especially earlier on. You think confidence means talking nonstop, knowing every feature, always having an answer, controlling the conversation constantly. But over time, you realize the best salespeople are usually incredible listeners, because customers will literally tell you how to sell them if you pay attention. They'll tell you what they care about, what they're afraid of, what's stopping them, and what they value most. But most salespeople miss it because they're too busy thinking about what they're going to say next. I remember losing deals earlier on just because I overloaded customers with information. I'd start feature dumping, horsepower, tech packages, you name it. Meanwhile, the customer only cared about one thing. Maybe that was safety, reliability, good gas mileage. That's it. And once I learned to slow down and ask better questions, everything improved. Customers trusted me more, conversations felt easier, and ironically, selling became less stressful. One thing I've learned, people love feeling heard. It instantly lowers defenses, and in today's world where everybody talks constantly, listening is becoming more and more rare, which makes it incredibly valuable. Point 5. Rejection stops hurting once you understand human nature. When you first get into sales, rejection feels personal. You think, maybe I'm bad at this, maybe they didn't like me, maybe I said something wrong. And sometimes you did mess something up, but over time, you realize most decisions have way more to do with the customer's life situation than you. Timing matters, money matters, stress matters, relationships matters, and also fear matters. Sometimes customers genuinely love the product and still don't buy. And sales teaches you resilience very quickly, because if you take every rejection personally, this industry will destroy you emotionally. One of the biggest mindset shifts for me was understanding rejection is usually information, not identity. That changed everything, because emotionally detached salespeople usually last the longest. Not detached in a cold way, but detached in a healthy way. They don't get overly emotional after winning deals. They stay consistent and disciplined. And honestly, sales made me mentally stronger outside of work too. You stop fearing uncomfortable conversations, you stop taking rejections personally, and you become more emotionally resilient in general. And that's one of the biggest hidden benefits of sales that nobody talks about. At the end of the day, sales taught me way more about psychology and human behavior than I ever expected. It taught me emotion drives decisions, trust matters more than pressure, desperation pushes people away, listening is underrated, and rejection is a part of life. And honestly, understanding people is probably the real skill behind great salespeople. Not manipulation, not scripts, not fake confidence. Understanding people. If you enjoyed this video and want more real-world sales content without the fake guru nonsense that you see nowadays, make sure to subscribe. Also, comment below, what's the biggest lesson sales has taught you about people? I read every comment and I'll try to respond. I'll catch you in the lab next time.